like a little bitty spot. I ain't coming down, no, never, I'm not. High on a mountain top, high on a mountain top.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Voices from the First Frontier. Manufacturing in Blair County has always been one of our key industry sectors, and that is still the case today, with more than 14% of our employment base made up of manufacturers. So much of that is linked to our rich rail history here in Blair County. Today we are glad to talk to someone who brings both rail and manufacturing together, Mark Ritchey of Curry Rail Services. Mark, welcome to the Voices from the First Frontier series. We're really glad to have you.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
So Mark, you serve as president of Curry Rail Services and principal partner of Curry Supply Holdings here in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, and you have a lot of family here also in the area. But how did you get started here?
Well, how it got started here, Steve, is our original manufacturing plant was in Curryville, which would be in the southern part of the county, and really it was just due to a capacity issue. You know, we were just busting at the seams, and we were looking around for vacant properties and what was available. And of course, being in the rail industry, you just can't pick any particular building. You got to have a rail to get to it. So that kind of limited our choices. And this was just a natural building for us to move into.
Tell us about the operation. What happens here at this site?
We like to break it down in 3 divisions. We have freight car repair, so any of your general freight car, commodity cars, box car, flat cars, gondolas, the cars everyone sees every day on the railroad. We bring those cars in, we repair them, we're kind of like a garage, for your car. We bring them in, inspect them, are the wheels good, and does everything look right? So that's one part of our business. The other part of our business, we actually build brand new cars here from scratch. So we get the steel in, on a flat sheet, and we do all the processing, the bending, and when it leaves here, it's a brand new car that goes on the rail. So that's a really exciting part of what we do here. And then the third division we have here would be our locomotive components. So we build all the components for locomotives, the cab, the car body, the frame, the fuel tank. So basically the shell of a locomotive.
I think what's really neat about this site, and we have to point out that we're actually standing in the middle of the railroad tracks here, so it's a pretty cool set, but we should feel comfortable and the trains aren't going to roll by.
I sure hope so.
Okay, that's good. This site was the original, back in the day, the Pennsylvania Railroad site, car repair facility. Norfolk Southern then had this site operational for a number of years. They closed back in 2002, 2003 period, and then we've gone through this renovation, and to have it serve once again as a heavy manufacturing rail site is a pretty cool thing.
It is a cool thing. It's very neat, and I don't think at first I really appreciated it until when we opened up and really brought it back to exactly what it was when it closed, about 12 years prior. I started having a lot of local people stop in. Hey, I worked here, do you mind if I look around? What can you show me? And that door has not closed yet. Monthly, I get somebody, hey, my grandfather worked here, or, my dad worked here. Do you mind if I'm absolutely, so to me, it's so gratifying that the community, we get members from everywhere coming here, stopping in, they recognize the building, they want to come do a tour, so that's a very unique experience.
Mark, my grandfather worked here. I just want you to know.
I'll give you a tour.
Okay, good. No, that'll be good. So, it is. We have this rich history here with rail and manufacturing. What are some of the advantages for operating an operation like this here in Blair County?
I think one of the key advantages we have here is the workforce. Have such a rich tradition of railroad, manufacturing, and I'd even put the agricultural world into that people here work hard. They like to work hard. They take pride in their work. They like to put out a product they can say, we built that here.
All right, the fun part. Now, we, in Voices from the First Frontier, we occasionally have a quiz program. So we've done that a few times. It's pretty interesting. So we're going to bring that back for this episode here. So here's a quiz, Mark. In the movie The Shining, which by the way is one of my favorite movies, Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, types a quote over and over again on a typewriter. What is that quote?
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Boom! Boom, right out of the gate. All right, so in the spirit of that quote, right, okay, there's something else that you need to know about Mark, and this was one of these moments when I first met Mark. I found out that he's very passionate about recreation here in Blair County as well, and that's in the cycling world. So, Mark, and let me tell you a story. When we first went out for a ride, he showed me one of our steepest mountain climbs in this area here, and I destroyed him on that climb. There was no way that he, that's not true. No, he destroyed me on that climb. How long have you been riding? Tell us about your experience here when you're not here on site doing some manufacturing.
Well, you know, I think I was like, I guess every kid growing up, I started riding at a very young age, but both my parents were bike enthusiasts, so I think my first real riding experience was when I was 13 years old. I rode with my dad to the Penn State blue and white game, 60 miles from my house. You know, weaving in and out of rural back roads, trying to keep on his wheel. You know, it's just propelled me into where I'm at now. I, you know, hit the race scene for a long time, and I really enjoyed that. And, you know, I probably biked in every city in the United States, but I often found myself wishing I was back home riding. Yeah. So it really I got a great appreciation for what Blair County and the surrounding areas have. I mean, I really do.
That's awesome. Now we're seeing so many folks come in from the outside doing bike tours and finding that to be one of the reasons that they come into the area and set up shop and join one of the bike clubs. We have a very large cycling club in the area here, and a bunch of shops that are also sponsoring rides throughout the course of the week.
Yeah, and you know, and it has every discipline. You know, whether you like mountain biking, you can mountain bike at Blue Knob, or you can go to Alagrippus. If you're a road guy, the roads around here are awesome. If you like gravel, you have Buchanan or Tussey Mountains. So no matter your discipline, you have, I believe, top-notch riding here.
I have an idea.
What's that?
Why don't we end this interview and go ahead and hit the roads?
You don't have to ask me twice.
Cheers, let's hit it.
Cheers.
Great.
High on a mountaintop, we live, we love, and we laugh a lot. Folks up here know what they got. High on a mountaintop, high on a mountaintop. The rest of the world's like a little bitty spot. I